Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's episode. Today, I wanted to talk to you about what the narcissist misses about you because maybe they don't miss you, but they miss your fuel. And I like to always think that your fuel represents you. What they miss about you is how much empathy that you throw their way. Because when you were unawoke to this, you gave them every bit of love you had. You gave them every bit of resource you had because of the way you were drawn in and the way you felt. Maybe it was the trauma bond and you were spelled. There was nothing more you could give. I mean, if you were that true empath, that primary source of supply, chances are you were just like me. And I personally don't think that I could have gave anything else or been any more perfect in most cases. Because when you've given somebody your all plus, there's nothing else you can give. Either they're going to find somebody that gives more, which is extremely hard for me to believe, or they're never going to find it again. One of the cases is true. In the case of me, I think that she squeezed everything out of me she could have without actually completely putting me underground. So as far as like regrets, I don't have regrets on how much I gave. I have regrets on how long I stayed. I learned a lot through it. I learned a lot about myself, and it really leveled me up. Maybe I'm partial, but I believe that empaths typically look at the bright side of things as much as they can after dealing with the destruction and kind of processing everything. It takes a very long time to get somebody that you threw all of that fuel at out of your head, off the rumination, letting it go and making amends with it. What they're going to miss about you is that you were real. You were real. You were genuine. Maybe you weren't as genuine because you were a people pleaser, but you truly loved and cared and wanted to help heal and offer up what you could plus. So maybe we were somewhat dysfunctional, but we did it out of love. We did it out of putting them first. And all it did was make things worse. You won't find closure from them because they can't give you closure, because they can't give you anything. Anything good they can't give you. And to some degree, that's why they all run on these tracks that are predictable. Because people that run on tracks that are predictable are people that don't have love. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing tracks that are built from people that don't have love. Having no love causes you to be discontent. You're never content with anything you do. They get bored very fast, very quickly. And they have to be driven by their lust because that's all they have now. If you can't feel love, all you can live off, you're living off lust all the time. And you and I both know that lust only feels good for a time. And then there's a huge regret and remorse. There's sadness, depression, anxiety. It becomes a pit. And maybe they don't know love anymore because they can't feel it. And that's obvious. There is regret or remorse that comes along because there's rules to this world. We can't fully put ourselves in the shoes of the narcissist. When it comes to somebody lacking in empathy, it's somewhat hard in some cases. There is some sort of behavior that comes along with the way that they operate when they've been with a true empath that gave them everything and just tried to help them. You never tried to hurt them, even when they disrespected you, discarded you, or degraded you and devalued you and discarded you the way they did. You still never were out to harm them. And they just continue to push the note, man. It's almost unrealistic how far that they will drive you into the ground. And what it truly looks like for a person to walk around without empathy. For those of us that truly understand the narcissist with the mask off on a daily basis and the amount of love and respect and treatment that you gave them, it's almost surreal. And that's why a lot of us will say that they're not humanity. They're almost like a different species. When you don't feel love, you're almost a different species. Somewhat in tune with artificial intelligence. But artificial intelligence isn't even that nasty. What they like to do is treat you so horrible and then come back with this sweet, kind, empathetic, fake style of person to reel you back in. And a lot of times we fell for it. But you can only do that for a time with an individual before it ends. And they have this grandiose sense of self that makes them believe it's never going to happen. That day's never going to come. That they can just tug you along. You're going to continue to follow their lead forever. But I will say, getting away from the narcissist is one of the hardest things I ever dealt with, because you have to separate yourself and detach and shut it down. You have to mourn over a relationship you lost. That individual never really existed because they were faking, and understand that there are evil people that walk out their life like they do. And it's just really sometimes hard to fathom. Maybe you always knew that there was evil people out there, but I think to some degree we thought that we would never be around their circle, when in fact we were amidst them most of our lives, to some degree unaware. And when you understand their thinking as well, the pathology behind it makes it so much worse, because if you were just dealing with it head on, not understanding their true intentions, you would take it a different way, because you'd never think that people are that cold. They're cold-blooded reptilians, y'all. It's crazy how they're addicted to human addiction for validation and all of the resource to survive, but they hate us. They love the fuel, but they hate the individual. And they come to the individuals that they envy. Infatuation, envy, destroy. After all the smoke clears and the dust is settled, and you raise up off this, a couple of years gone by, and you stood back up, and you keep it moving. You invest in yourself, you heal, and you build up places in your life that you weren't focusing enough attention on. With a narcissist coming into your life and devastating you, you come to understand the importance of this healing and some of the areas that you needed to work on. And that's what we do. We take care of business. And sometimes, for the first year or so, you're kind of spinning your wheels, man, because it's like you feel so horrible and you feel like you're going through the motions of life, but you're not really feeling like you're making any headway. But it comes. And this video is to help those that are losing hope or faith that it is going to come and the rumination is going to cease to exist, and you will get over this situation. And then you will be propelled into your future of who you are and who you're supposed to be. You will agree with me later, if not now, that they put you more on your purpose if you handle this correctly. To direct your fuel where it needs to go. To be precise, to be prudent, to have purpose and precision. What they will miss about you is your safety, security, your protection, your helping abilities. I mean, you did a lot for them. Your counsel. A lot of times the narcissist deals with things in a frustrated, impulsive behaviors of non-common sense without the right thought involved. So when the narcissist comes to you in a lot of ways, you give them a lot of good counsel. They will miss all of the opportunities that they had with you. And some may say, do they know they're treating you bad? Do they know what they're doing? They know right from wrong. And that's the thing, because they can turn it off and turn it on. This goes all the way deep into psychology, they'll tell you. They know exactly what they're doing, whether it's laziness, impulsivity, addiction, power control, lust. It takes over. They just don't care. And they got to sadistically put you down in most cases, depending on the spectrum. They get off on your pain. They say the narcissist's true self, they get off on the sadism. That feeds the true narcissist because they really hate you. The love, adoration, admiration, that is what feeds the mask. But you will see when you are discarded, for instance, you may have a little bit of a argument because it's ridiculous how they discard and what occurs during discard and how it all goes down time after time. and how they don't want to discuss or process any of their emotions. They just want to fling evil. They will tear you to pieces verbally. Any kind of ammo they got on you, boy, they will let you have it without any regard for love or life. And that's really them. That's really the true them. You don't really think that when they come back with that sweet personality, when they try to hoover you, that that's them. Because we already know the pathology of things is that you're just a holdover for someone else, or you're just being used again, recycled again, re-idolized again, because you've healed up to some degree. Part of you healed up, and they got to come back and knock you down. But they will regret their actions when you're not around anymore, and only then. And if they were to get you back, they would disrespect you again. The only time the narcissist ever respects anybody is if they're above them in a position of power, if they have a lot more money, or when you disengage with them and you disconnect and go no contact completely for life. And that's when they will respect you. If you're with them, they will disrespect you and destroy you. After the idolization phase or the re-idolization phase, you are not worthy to be with them. They will pick at you, find flaws in you, and because you're not perfect, they will put you into devalue mode again. They know that they're so evil that anybody that decides to go into a partnership with them has got to be bad, is what they believe. And this is how they choose to live, y'all. For an individual to spend their whole life just causing mayhem, death, and destruction to people all over the earth. And typically, the ones that they truly destroy are some of the nicest people. It is what it is. But this will come down the pike for them as some sort of remorse, regret, depression, anxiety, paranoia, or some sort of them missing you. Because they're just not going to find that in everybody. And even if they do, when you give somebody all of that fuel, all of that, your life like that, and they treat you like garbage, there is a price to pay. They'll get their suffering for that. They may even get it tenfold, who knows? But you know, a lot of these things come when they least expect it. And a lot of these regrets and remorse and this pain for them comes maybe years down the road when they're really in a bind and they can't get you out of their head. Sometimes sick people will ruminate on an individual that they lost several years out, and not until then. You may come into their head when they're kind of down. They'll have memories of all of what you gave them and all of what they could have had. They will begin to ruminate on you several years later and have a tough time with that, and generally get some sort of a collapse during that same time. But the most important thing that you can do is to grow, heal, build boundaries, and love the Lord, and just grow in your ethics. There's always growth to be in your relationship with the Lord. There's always room to grow. That never ends. And that is the most important thing, because you're not going to be here forever. Everything is futile or finite. Finite means that there's a beginning and an end, and you can't take it with you. The only thing you can take with you is your spirit, your soul. And that soul is all that you take with you. Your soul is who you've become in the end. It will be judged. And truly being righteous is the way, y'all. There's no other if, ands, buts around it. Everything that you do evil or with bad intent comes back to you. And it weighs on you. It causes you to be depressed and have remorse and have bitterness and jealousy. And it forms bad habits. And it has consequences. Regardless of that, hurting other people is just not the way to live. To live right is to live righteous. To have peace of mind, love in your heart, and be whole. Live holy. They will regret you and respect you and have remorse over this depression, anxiety, paranoia. They will have thoughts of you probably for the rest of their life. When you detach and you shut that fuel line down and you disconnect it, y'all, and you go out there and you heal and you live your life, chances are they're going to get stuck with a lot of forms of supply that are going to treat them like crap. And they're going to be very similar to the vibration that they are on. Catch disease. They will be abused themselves because of the way that they live. It just has to come. Abuse for them has to come. When you abuse people on a daily basis and you go through individuals as fast as they do and deal with as many as they do and have to go in all different strange places, that's very risky. And eventually abuse comes with that. They have no peace. They're running around just devising evil, not knowing that they're not even living in reality. The reality that they're living in, their whole life is completely made up. It's a whole sham. What is their legacy? It's nothing good. Nothing good ever comes from the narcissist. They never get left with anything good because of the way that they choose to live, their actions. And even if they were to gain all the money in the world, it's just a facade. That doesn't bring you happiness. That makes you more empty. When you're living like that, the more you accumulate, the more empty you feel. No love. Could you imagine living without love, y'all? Without God? Without love? Without the fruits of the Spirit? No way. There is no rest for the wicked. And when you intertwine yourself with them, just being connected to them curses you, curses your own life. Outside of the grace to gray rock because you have children and or have certain interactions with them. Narcissists hate everything, everything good. They even hate the evil co-narcissists. They even hate their own kind. We love and they hate. We have peace and we have joy. They have paranoia, depression, anxiety, and shame, sadness, contentions. They have to live in chaos. And if they can't live in it, they will create it. When you have love, joy, peace, kindness, goodwill towards other individuals, respect, safety, security, comfort, they will miss that. They have lack. They are destroyers. They are lonely. They are paranoid, depressed, anxious. They have anger, hate, and jealousy. They have to live a chaotic lifestyle. They get very little rest. They have no friends. They trust nobody. They never feel safe. They're always thinking about who is out to get them. And at some point, some of them have to move because they have the whole city gunning for them, man. It's like terrible. I couldn't live with myself if I did that to one person. These guys do it every 3 or 4 months, sometimes to multiple sources. That's why a lot of times they isolate themselves. They may get around, but when they find these sources, they don't like to go out much. If you notice, they'll DoorDash. They don't want to go to no restaurant. You know why? Because they don't want to see old supplies or run into somebody. Or because they're cheating so much, they could be seeing somebody else that's sitting down cheating on them or something, or in the chair beside you. It's ridiculous. They are the epitome of evil. I don't even consider them humanity. But they will regret you. But it's when you detach and disconnect and you never talk to them again and you keep it moving. So if you can give me a like, subscription, and thumbs up, love y'all. Peace. Till next time, we out.